Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today. I'm excited to be here with you to talk about our 2026 tech trends. But before we get started, I want to start with a quote. So many of you may have heard the quote, real estate is all about location, location, location. But this quote I find quite interesting. It says, the real estate industry is no longer just about location, location, location. It's about location, innovation, and information. So, as realtors, the location is still very important, but it's important that we also keep our eye on innovation and use all of the information that we have at our fingertips. It's a very interesting quote that I think is very relevant in our tech forward world today. So, thanks again for joining today. My name is Sharon Love Bates, and I am the Director of Emerging Technology here at the National Association of Realtors. And I'm super excited to talk to you about what we can expect for emerging tech in 2026. Want to share some of the exciting things that we're seeing and all of the great technology that is headed our way. So let's get started. So one of the first trends I'm sure you've all or can probably guess, but AI continues to be a very, very hot topic across the industry. So, but I'm today going to focus on agentic AI. So it's slightly different, the next version of AI. So super excited to talk about that. We'll also cover blockchain. So blockchain is not so new, but it is reemerging now because of some great things that are happening across the world. So we're going to talk about some of the exciting things that we're seeing in the blockchain industry, and then as well as taking a look at augmented and virtual reality. There's some new things that are happening there, and we want to share all the exciting things that we are seeing. So let's dive in. So agentic AI. So I know most of us are very familiar, or you hear about, or you use generative AI. And so that's where you're actually using ChatGPT, or you're using Perplexity, or Copilot, one of those tools, and you enter in a prompt and you get a response. You ask it a question, you get an answer. Well, agentic AI is slightly different because it's that next version. And according to Gartner, agentic AI is going to be one of the most transformative techs that impacts not only our industry, but all industries um, over the next 24 months. So, definitely very exciting space that you're going to hear more and more about. And so, let's dive a little deeper. Um, what is agentic AI? So when I think about agentic I think about it as a coworker, an assistant, or a silent partner. But essentially, it's that next version of AI where it can work independently. It can be um, programmed with a specific goal or task in mind. It has the ability to do enhanced decision making and be able to think and perceive on its own, all while constantly getting better and better over time. So increasing that productivity and that efficiency. So think about it. Think about a assistant that never gets sick, never goes on vacation, works 24 hours a day, and constantly constantly gets better uh, day after day. So it's definitely something that I think a lot of us would love to have. I would love to have an assistant like that. But agentic AI is definitely that autonomous programming that can continually work and complete tasks on your behalf. So a very exciting space that this is working out to be. And so, according to Gartner, 15% of our day to day work decisions will be made autonomously. And that's huge when you think about it. So, if you think about all of the things that you do, maybe all of the mundane tasks that you don't want to do, All that can be automated and all of that can happen autonomously by you just setting and forgetting. So we're going to talk about that in a little more detail. So with agentic AI, we have the ability for it to work in these four stages. So it has the ability to perceive, it has perception. It can also think and have reasoning. So it can make decisions, if this, then do this, or if that, do that, and take a specific action. Again, we're talking about a specific goal or objective that you are trying to achieve. And again, the system is consistently learning over and over again, improving efficiency and improving productivity. So it's definitely something that you could benefit from as a set and forget. So let's kind of look at this at certain, how agentic AI is going to have an impact on real estate. These are some of the use cases that I wanted to cover today, but think about going from co-pilot to autopilot. So it's something, again, that you can set and forget. So just looking at a couple of these as an example, being able to do, as an example, property management, where you can set up the system to handle all tenant inquiries, be able to, schedule maintenance requests, be able to collect rent, be able to automatically, renew leases. These are very exciting things that can happen and can be automated using agentic AI. Another example could be financials, being able to gather info, validate, reconcile, and approve invoices. Again, these might be things that you don't want to do on a daily basis. You can set and forget. Another one is, predictive maintenance. So if you are in that property management space, you're able to use, IoT sensors as well as be able to predict maintenance. So whether it's, making sure the furnace continue to work or your hot water heater, making sure that your grounds are upkeep. These are things, again, that you can program and have work as a silent partner for you. And we're going to look at a couple of examples in a little more detail. So think about it. Think about if you could automate your sales pipeline. you know, have a system set up where it can generate leads, it can answer any product questions that may come up from the consumer, it can handle objections, any concerns that they may have, and then it can schedule a meeting for you. So being able to have that buyer or seller automatically be scheduled on your calendar at the availability that you may have. Again, having all of that automatically happen is is very very productive way to work. So having, again, this silent partner, this assistant that's working on your behalf. Another example is autonomously running your marketing campaigns. So think about it. The system can create a campaign, it can determine who your target audience is, it can develop the content. So whether you're going to, have a social media campaign or email campaign, be able to set it up and then manage it over time, manage and then optimize. So being able to autonomously run this in the background so that you can spend your time focused on meeting with clients. You can spend your time showing homes. These are things that are definitely something that will take you to that next level because you're able to, again, have a co-pilot or a silent partner that's doing a lot of these manual activities that may have taken up a lot of your time in the past. So agentic AI is definitely an area that you would want to look in. There are companies now that are starting to offer these capabilities. So definitely something you should think about and consider for future. Now, the second area that we want to focus on is blockchain. And so, for those of you that are not aware what blockchain is, think about it as a digital ledger. It actually records information and stores it on what we call blocks, and then keeps this in a chronological order. And those blocks then become a chain. So, blockchain of all of this secure, transparent information stored within this technology. And so there's a lot of different examples of blockchain, and utilizing this technology is something that is definitely going to be a game changer when it comes to real estate. One example or use case of blockchain is crypto. Crypto is built on blockchain. Tokenization. We are going to look at a little more detail of each of these, but tokenization is another important concept that we're going to cover that can definitely be a game changer for real estate. And then lastly, smart contracts. These again are built on a blockchain and bring that sense of security and transparency to each and every transaction. So let's take a look at these in a little more detail. Let's talk about how blockchain is going to unlock the potential that we have within real estate. So when you think about digital ownership, this is something that we're starting to see grow and increase over time. So we're seeing where buyers are starting to use crypto to either purchase property or to fund their down payments. Now, according to a Redfin survey, it's been approximately 11.6% of first-time homebuyers sold crypto to fund their down payment. So think about that. That's a pretty huge number. So crypto, transactions is still pretty niche in our industry, but it's starting to grow. There are transactions that are happening in California, in New York, in Miami, even internationally in Dubai, where, luxury properties are being purchased using crypto. And so there's a lot to learn in this space. There's a lot to get familiar with. And you definitely, as a realtor, would want to learn as much as you can so that if your buyer or your seller wants to come to you to ask about, utilizing crypto or accepting crypto for a property that's for sale, you definitely want to be able to advise them and answer those questions correctly. So something you definitely would want to learn more about. Um, Tokenized assets is another big area that we're seeing as a current trend as it relates to blockchain. So being able to work with investors who can take a property or a apartment building or a commercial property and take the property and digitize it. So sell it off or sell a portion for tokens. And so investors can purchase a token or a piece of that particular property and have fractional ownership in it. And so this actually increases liquidity. It makes the barrier to entry lower for those investors that are interested. So think about it. Typically in the past, you would have, an investor that may own, let's say, a $5 million commercial property. Well, now as a investor, I can now buy into that $5 million property. Maybe I only need $10,000 to be a fractional owner. So these again is opening the door for more investors, opening the door for more buyers for these type of properties. So definitely another area that we think as realtors you should learn more about and be prepared to be able to assist your clients in these type of transactions. And both with crypto and with tokenized properties, it definitely offers more global access. So giving international investors the ability to enter our US markets and vice versa. So again, there's so much opportunity and potential in these spaces that you would definitely want to learn as much as you can in these areas. And then last but definitely not least is smart contracts. So if you think about it, our traditional way of doing contracts in the past, being able to, take a contract and email it to your client, or if you're using, one of the digital signatures like a DocuSign or a dot loop, you definitely, send a contract that way, have the party sign, but then you also have to send it to the attorney. You may have to send it to other parties. There's still a lot of manual steps that happen there. With these smart contracts, they are self-executing programs that automatically enforce the terms of an agreement. So if you think about a program, that as soon as an action or a step is complete, it continually goes to that next step or that next process. So it's definitely a lot of opportunity in that space to use these smart contracts because they are automating the entire process. They're informing all of the parties that are involved, but it's also bringing that trust, that transparency. Everything is more secure. So you're able to reduce human error and also reduce the possibility of fraud. So let's talk a little bit more about crypto because if you have been watching the news or have been reading Financial Times, you probably are aware that there's been a lot more talk and conversations around crypto. So what's fueling the growth in crypto? So the first thing is that Bitcoin has reached over 125,000, I think, when I checked the other day, um, which is the highest that it's been since Bitcoin has been around. So that is a huge, huge, accomplishment that it has now reached that level, that dollar amount. The current administration is in favor of digital assets and technologies. So you've probably heard the president or the cabinet talking about crypto. Um, there has recently been the Genius Act that was recently signed into law, which is bringing more regulatory transparency to crypto. So the ability to be able to back and bring that consumer stability and like I said, transparency to crypto is a huge, huge thing. Something that a lot of us thought would never happen, but now it's happening. So now the introduction of the Genius Act now allows for more security around our stable coins, and that way, more people will be able to purchase using crypto now that this has passed. So it opens the door to mainstream adoption of using crypto as part of a real estate transaction. So lots of exciting things happening now as it relates to digital assets and the backing by the U.S. government. Also, we've noticed that 25% of employers are now offering crypto as part of the payroll, that a person can get part of their paycheck utilizing crypto. So that's another huge change. Bitwage is one of the companies that offer this as a product and service. They are providing payroll to over 450,000 companies. We now know that there is definitely interest. 30% of employees stated that they would accept crypto as some form of their salary. So that's also very interesting. And Bitwage actually has over 90,000 users that are receiving part of their income from crypto. So again, with all of this, happening in our world today, this is what's fueling the growth in crypto, and this is why it's so important as realtors that we learn as much as we can, be prepared to help your clients when it comes to using crypto or accepting crypto as part of a real estate transaction. So let's talk a little bit about real estate tokenization. So just to remind you of what tokenization is, so it's creating fractional interest in a real estate asset through tokens. And so I wanted to show exactly how this process works so that it becomes a little clearer to how you can use this in a real estate transaction. So if you think about a property owner that owns a single property, traditionally, the way that it happened in the past is that you would have one single owner who has full ownership of a property. Now, with the concept of digitizing that property, a investor can sell off all or a portion of that property using tokens. So essentially fractionalizing that property so that now you have several investors that have partial ownership in a particular property. Now think about that, because as a single owner, you have all of the, benefits of owning a property, when it comes to, taxes and being able to claim those as part you know, um, of your assets, et cetera. As a partial owner, and if you did participate in a tokenization of this real estate, now you can also, take advantage of all of the great benefits of that ownership of that particular property because you are seen as a legal percentage ownership of that particular real estate asset. So definitely something that, again, and because this is all, built on that blockchain technology, it's all secure, it's very transparent. And so this capability now is being offered by several companies. So you definitely look into it where you can advise your clients on how they can participate, or you yourself can take advantage of, owning a fraction of a property using this new technology. Now, last but certainly not least is smart contracts. So I mentioned a little bit about this earlier, but for smart contracts, think about going from paper to program. So essentially streamlining that entire transaction process and doing it digitally. So as I mentioned, there's no need to now manually email a copy of the contract to the buyer or to the seller or to the attorneys. All of that is happening automatically as part of this smart contract. So, as a reminder, it's a self executing program that automatically enforces and executes and records all the actions as these conditions are being met as part of that agreement. And so it really hones in on, being able to have everything within the blockchain, have everything, be sent to the appropriate parties, removing all of the manual aspect of it and doing everything efficiently with transparency and a secure program. So it's definitely something that we think will, you know, revolutionize and change our real estate transaction process. And this is definitely something that's being piloted by various companies. So it's something that, if this is something you'd like to learn more about, definitely take a class or, you know, um, follow us. We're always writing blogs and having webinars on different emerging tech trends. So definitely one that I think can make a significant improvement on our productivity and efficiency. And so now let's go on to our third trend that we're seeing, which is augmented and virtual reality. So many of us, or many are very familiar with augmented reality or virtual reality. You've definitely heard it. You've seen the VR glasses, and being able to play games or do different things with them. But we're really starting to see again a pickup in growth in this space. So we all know that buyers start their journey to purchasing a home online. Everyone starts and they'll start to look and see what properties are available. And those properties that have a virtual tour, we're seeing that 77% of consumers prefer that virtual tour prior to visiting a property. We all know that that helps that buyer experience that home, to be able to virtually go through it, see the different rooms, see the size, the space, and definitely get a feel for how that home, you know, will show. So definitely seeing a continued increase in this. We've also captured that 1.4 million agents are using AR, VR technologies. So if you're not using it, definitely you can get started today. There's lots of companies that offer this today. We've also noticed that listings with VR tours receive up to 87% more views. Because again, our buyers, they're starting online, they want to see the home, and seeing that home via a virtual tour is definitely their preference. So it's something to keep in mind as you are getting new listings. And just a interesting fact is that VR in real estate is now valued at approximately $17.2 billion in 2025 and is expected to double by 2034. So a lot of growth, a lot of interesting facts as it relates to this technology. And as I stated, it really, really enhances the experience on a particular property. So let's look at these in a little more detail. So when you think about VR in use today, so I talked a little bit about immersive virtual tours, but again, that's being able to walk through the property, get a 3D view, being able to see and experience, each room, how it's laid out, what appliances are there, how you can, access each and every room. Those are things that, again, are very important to buyers. Being able to do a virtual open house. Maybe your buyer is in another state or possibly in another country. Being able to offer a virtual open house is something that, again, is only a benefit for your seller if if you are representing that seller with your listings. Virtual staging. So I'm sure you've seen this. There's a lot of companies like Matterport, Box Brownie. There's a lot of different tools out here today that offer virtual staging. So if a home is vacant, you can actually virtually stage it, be able to put in modern furniture or certain appliances, or definitely be able to do those different things to really showcase what the property could look like, with a few changes. And then pre-construction visualization is, think about a new construction home that's being built, being able to really visualize for a potential buyer what that property would look like once it has been completely constructed. So those are a few examples of VR that's in use today. Now, when you think about AR that's in use today, it's similar but slightly different. So, with augmented reality staging, think about it in terms of being able to take out, maybe the property has carpet and you want to now see what it looks like with hardwood floors. Being able to swap those things out, or being able to change the wall color. So maybe it's a bright orange today, and now you want to change it to like a soft gray, being able to augment either, changing color schemes or renovating that particular property is something that is available. But again, slightly different than a virtual tour. Property visualization and customization. So again, we talked a little bit about being able to walk through a pre-construction home. But what if the buyer now wants to try out different layouts of that property? So instead of having, let's say, a loft, they want to see what it would look like as a third bedroom. Or maybe they want to see, the finished basement. Or maybe they want to see changing a room from a bedroom to an office, or, just the different layouts and customizations that you can make for a particular property, essentially augmenting what that property would look like. And then lastly, having interactive AR floor plans and measurements. This is really important when you think about, as a new buyer of a home, you want to be able to, see what the precise measurements are. So maybe you're going to put specific artwork on the walls. Maybe you're going to put in specific blinds or curtains, or being able to see how all of that will look from a future perspective. These are all the way you can use augmented reality in use today. And again, there's a lot of companies that offer this, this as a product or service today. So now let's look at what's new, what's happening in the VR AR space. So we all love AI and we're all talking about it. So now VR and AR is integrated with AI. So enhancing those realisms and adding in a level of personalization that may not have been there before. So think about the ability as me as a buyer, maybe I am virtually looking at a home, but now I want to take my specific furniture or my specific artwork and I want to place it in that home. Now you can use AI to try to help you to do that. And so it helps with that improved user experience, providing more personalized experience for that user. We're seeing a rise in avatars. So if you haven't seen it, I'm sure you will. But there are a lot of avatars that are popping up. So you'll see them as, I don't know, chat agents, or you'll see realtors that have, created an avatar of themselves and are actually doing a virtual open house with an avatar. So it's definitely something that is happening and is something new that's coming up within this space. Being able to experience, like I mentioned, VR or AR without actually having to use the headsets is something now that is becoming more and more available. So now you no longer need to have a VR headset for some of these capabilities. You can just do it directly from your computer, using a specific app in order to experience it from your laptop or from your phone. And then last but not least is there are lots of wearable AR and VR devices that are available. So some of you, I'm sure, have heard of Meta glasses, the ability to have the the internet at your eye, I want to say fingertips, but within your eyesight, being able to see and translate and do all of these different things through the Meta glasses. So as you're, I don't know, doing a presentation, or you're, I don't know, acting or something, you can have the words that you need to say come directly up for you on your glasses. So those are things that are being offered today, as well as AR and VR watches. So there's a lot happening as well when it comes to a watch, where you can now visualize and see certain things using a wearable watch or glasses. So these are some of the new capabilities that we're seeing. And then I also wanted to share this video that kind of talks a little bit more about the future of AR and VR.
Augmented reality is changing the world forever. For example, AR glasses are becoming mainstream. AR glasses look identical to regular pairs of glasses, and they're worn by people from all walks of life in every major city. You're able to use your AR glasses to access applications pertaining to phone calls, emails, music, maps, and games. Some AR glasses are even starting to allow people to use hand gestures to control these apps. Movies and video games appear on 2D screens that overlay your environment. Additionally, you can have video calls with people without picking up a smartphone. You can even use speech to display AI-generated images and videos using your AR lenses. From the outside of the lenses, no one can tell which applications you have active. They're fitted with LiDAR sensors, enabling 3D interpretations of your environment. AR contact lenses are growing in popularity and functionality as well. They're expected to largely replace AR glasses in the next 10 to 30 years. Number 2. AR-generated text is becoming mainstream. AI assistants can generate text on your lenses to guide you through any situation. Whenever you speak with someone who's speaking another language, your AR lenses will display translated text to you in real time. People who have hearing loss can have text automatically displayed for them as well when people are talking to them. Additionally, as you drive and walk down streets that support this technology, your AR lenses will display the prices and amenities of any house or apartment for sale.
Wow, so isn't that pretty cool? Being able to use AR, VR in the future is going to be pretty exciting. So I can't wait to try out those contacts. That seems really cool.
Augmented reality.
So thanks so much for sharing that, experiencing that with me. That was pretty cool to see. So, in summary, the trends that we're seeing for 2026 are the ones that we just covered. So, agentic AI, again, think about that next version of AI that's autonomous, that can think on its own, make decisions on its own. Think about that as your silent partner, your silent assistant. Blockchain, so all of the great capabilities that are available there when it comes to, crypto, using digital assets now are going to be more easy and secure now with all of the regulation that has passed. So definitely something to learn more about. Tokenization, the ability to digitize a property and allow more investors to purchase makes it so much easier and opens it up to a lot more investors. That's definitely a great trend. And then smart contracts, being able to have a programmable programmable contract that is going to automatically do the next action based on the predefined task. So definitely an area that we're going to continue to watch. And then lastly, but definitely not least, is AR VR. We are seeing a lot of advances when it comes to the augmented capabilities, the virtual reality capabilities. And it's exciting to see all of that come into play where it comes to the wearable glasses, contact lenses, watches. All of that is definitely exciting, tech that we'll see in the very near future. So definitely keep these technologies in mind. Spend as much time as you can to try to learn about them. Be a continuous learner. Follow us and make sure that you sign up for our newsletter and read our blogs. But there's a lot of great information out here, and NAR is offering a lot of great classes on some of these topics as well. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions and we can get started. Let's see what questions we have so far. All right. So the first question here, how can realtors begin integrating agentic AI tools into their day-to-day work without losing the personal relationship-based aspect that defines our profession? Well, that's a great question. And I think that any realtor that is interested in using this technology definitely start small, start to learn as much as you can about the technology. You want to be very strategic on how you're implementing these things, but also, make sure that you actually identify the right tasks to automate. You know, the personal touch of a realtor is so important, and that's why technology will never replace us as realtors because our relationships is what makes our business run. And your relationship is why people want to use you as their realtor because they know you, they trust you, and they look for your experience and your advice. They're not looking for AI to come in and help them. They're looking for you who has the experience and the knowledge in this space. So it's important that yes, you be very well aware of the technologies that are available. You take advantage of them, you learn as much as you can, and where it makes sense, then you can implement and adopt those technologies so that you can, again, increase your productivity and efficiency, but you don't lose that personal touch in those relationships that you have that is going to continue to thrive and grow your business. So that would be my advice. All right, let's see what the next question is. So the next question, what steps should realtors or brokerages take to ensure compliance if blockchain-based smart contracts or crypto transactions become more common in real estate? Well, that's a great question. So anytime that you want to, learn about a new technology, whether it's blockchain, crypto, or something else, again, you want to take the time to invest and learn as much as you can. There's a lot of information out here that you can, brush up your knowledge on these different areas. But when it comes specifically to crypto, it's important that you learn what steps you need to take in order to do that. There are crypto classes that are available. One of the most important steps that you need to know is know your customer. KYC is an important step in the process of crypto because there could be you know bad actors or dishonest people that are trying to manipulate you or um, actually do commit fraud. These things you have to be very aware of. So you have to make sure that you follow the steps to know your customer, that you are working with a title company that is very aware and have done crypto transactions in the past. If you haven't done one, you should probably partner with someone who has done a crypto transaction. It's always good to, have a mentor or have someone in the business that has done that so that you're not out here alone trying to figure it out. Definitely work with your broker, your managing broker. I'm sure they can advise you on the best steps to take. So definitely take the first steps as first learning as much as you can about the process, and then don't be afraid to ask for help would be my next suggestion. So thanks for that question. All right, next question. Do you see property tokenization as a realistic opportunity for realtors and their clients, or is it still limited to institutional investors? Well, my answer is absolutely. It is definitely a realistic opportunity, and there are different companies out here that are offering this as a service. And so, getting yourself familiar with it, which again, this is a common theme throughout these questions, but I will continue to say you want to learn as much as possible so that you are knowledgeable and you can advise your clients on what best to do. But I think that this tokenization is such a great opportunity, not only for your clients, but for us as realtors. It is a great opportunity for investment. And again, it lowers the barrier to entry. So instead of having to have, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars to own a property, maybe you only need 5,000 or you only need 10,000 or a lot lesser amount and just to get involved and to start to reap the benefits of being an investor. So it's definitely something that I think is a realistic opportunity, and it's something that you can definitely take advantage of. So learn as much as you can and definitely take advantage of these opportunities. All right, next question. Many realtors already use virtual tours. What's the next step in making AR and VR more accessible and cost effective for listings, open houses, and new construction marketing? Well, that's a great question. So I think that there are plenty of prop tech companies that are available today that offer low cost options. I know Matterport is one company that does that, as well as Box Brownie. Box Brownie, I know from past experience that they have a very low cost to offer, virtual staging, virtual tours, and then also the ability to furnish or defurnish properties. That's one thing that is interesting. If you have a property that is a bit cluttered, you can use their defurnish capability to remove furniture from the property as well. As long as you disclose that you're doing all of this, it's okay to use these technologies. But there are companies that offer low cost options for these technologies. So definitely do your research, definitely learn as much as you can. You can definitely check out our realtor benefits. They have companies that offer great deals as well. So definitely something that you can check out, but there are um, accessible and cost-effective companies out there that offer this technology. And I think we have time for one more question. So this last question here, how can brokerages or associations strategically combine agentic AI, blockchain, and AR/VR to elevate the realtor value proposition and stay ahead of consumer tech expectations? Well, this is a great question. Yeah. So I think the best way to prepare and strategically implement these technologies is you want to first start small. So again, there's a lot of technology and some of it may make sense for your business and some of it may not. So you want to take the time to evaluate, understand the technologies that are available, but then do an internal audit for yourself, for your brokerage, and understand what technologies do I already have in place, what are my requirements or needs that I want to, try to solve for? Are there pain points that I'm experiencing that technology can help? Are there manual tasks that are taking up too much of my time or I can't spend that time on clients or doing high value activities? Then those are the things you want to start with. So it's about learning about the technologies that are available, but then also understanding what is the need for yourself personally or for your company, your brokerage, and then do an assessment and see where strategically does it make sense for you to implement these technologies. Where does it make the most sense that it can add productivity or it can lower your costs? Or is it going to work well with the technologies you may already use? These are all things that you have to do. There's a little bit of work involved. You can't, it's not a magic pill that you just take and everything magically works. It's going to take some initial evaluation and assessment to determine whether or not it's the right solution for you. So that would be my suggestion, is to definitely look into these tools, see how they can benefit you, and once you have determined that, then that's how you go ahead and start to implement so that you can, use this as a benefit so that you are, bringing a higher value proposition to consumers, that you are offering a lot more because now you have the knowledge, you have the technology, you are able to be more productive and efficient. So now I have more time to spend with my client. So these are the types of things that I think that you can do in order to strategically implement these to increase and elevate that value proposition. So again, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate you spending some time going through the emerging tech trends that we see for 2026. Again, my name is Sharon Love Bates. Was happy to be able to provide you with this information today. As I mentioned, please register or for our newsletters. You can go to tech.realtor and register there. We have a wealth of information on our website with blogs about, all of the emerging tech topics that I covered today and much more. We also offer webinars. We have in-person events. There's a lot happening in this space. So would love to connect with you via LinkedIn, through the code here, or through our tech.realtor website. So thanks again for your time and enjoy the rest of your day.